Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia.
Oh my God.
That's who we serve, and that's who we love.
Running out. Hi, everybody. This is Godfather Soul James Brown. I tell you, this place is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown saying, stay with it and hit it. Well, okay. Thank you very much.
Well, that's some good advice. When life serves you lemons, don't
Okay.
forget to make lemonade.
Oh, yeah. Stay with it and hit it. All right.
That's right. That's right. Hey, don't
Well.
forget to hit record.
Oh,
Altar.
oh, yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Well, okay. This is the Victoria's Secrets show. We're going to talk to an ex model, and she hasn't unmuted herself, so I hope she can unmute. I mean, because I know she's there, and I know it says, oh, and I have a thing where I can say, tell participants to unmute their what is that called?
Their mic, I guess. I mute their whatever. I don't know.
Yes.
Don't try this stuff at home, folks.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, so where is- so
While we wait.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Johnny.
okay. I just want to let people know that the share the show, subscribe to the show, and go to info@innervisionfm.com. We need your contact information because when we get to a certain level, we know that certain platforms are gonna it's gonna take us out for a while. So we need your info.
So, short story long basically works like this. There is indeed censorship that does take place from time to time. Our benevolent overlords at YouTube are going through some growing pains, and we just need to help to work with them. And so, in order for this to happen, there may be some times where we may not broadcast on some of the mainstream platforms, YouTube, Facebook, that kind of thing. So, your best bet would be to go ahead and sign up for our newsletter at info@innervisionfm.com.
Yes, and we want our guests to. Oh, and let's tell them about the sponsors before our guests unmutes there.
All right. So there is a eye clinic in Littleton, Colorado.
Right.
There's a guy by the name of Richard Damiano, and he takes care of corneal transplants, this kind of thing. He's a corneal eye consultant. And so he will help you to regain your vision if you are struggling with that. Let's not forget about the Wells Fargo Foundation, the Denver Foundation, the Colorado Arts Relief Fund. Let's also not forget about Christian Brothers Moving Company. If you are based in Inglewood, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, and in the great state of Texas, you will find these folks. So hit them up. They're real nice folks. There's about 28 of them, I believe. And they end up doing all kinds of cool stuff to help you get moved from one place to the other throughout the nation.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Okay, and yeah, and of course, the we said the Colorado.
Colorado Arts Relief Fund.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, also go to our paypal.me /Innervision Denver. That's paypal.me /Innervision Denver, and that just helps us out quite a bit. Okay. All right. Now Our guest is we said like a ex New York model, and the reason I put the Victoria's Secret is because this 26-year-old lady named Jax, yeah, Jax, has a song out about Victoria's Secret. And I looked at her. She's like 5'6", 127 pounds. And now maybe she was a butterball when she was younger because she said she was in the song. She said, she looked at these magazines and said, well, this lady with the small waist and the big, the big chest and all that kind of stuff. And it said, and then she found out that the secret was it was this old guy in this other state, who that was his decision on how women should look, and her friends and everybody was trying to live up to this old man description. So that is the reason I called it Victoria's Secrets. Grace Lynn will have more insight on the modeling business. So we'd like to welcome you to the show, Victoria. Not Victoria, Grace.
Welcome, Grace Lynn. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Alan?
I can't complain.
Me
Yeah.
neither. Bright and early.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Rise and shine.
So
Rise and shine.
we got to find out. Okay, you were in New York for a while. Were you born in New York, or give the audience a little bit of history for
Okay.
those who don't know?
No, I was not born in New York. I was born in Denver, Colorado. And I went to New York in my 20s, my early 20s,
Mhm.
and did some modeling. I started off with Wilhelmina here in Denver, Colorado, modeling. So then I went to New York and modeled with Bonds International, and that was
Wait, okay. I'm missing. So you started here.
started here. Yeah, started here in Denver, Colorado, at the age of 12.
Wow. And you were doing like TV commercials type of things, or modeling clothes?
I did runway here in Colorado
Runway,
at the
okay.
age of 12 for clothing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so how did you was it something that you dreamed about doing? You say, or how did you get in? Did someone say, "Hey, you should do this"?
Well, actually, it was my oldest sister. She got me into modeling because I was a toothpick.
Okay. So she says, "Hey, you are it," kind of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was 95 pounds soaking wet.
Now
So
wait a minute. Now, how tall are you? Because this other Jax, she's like 5'6". How tall were you at that time?
at that time I was 5'7".
Wow, shoot, you were a stick.
I was a
Yeah.
kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
But I was very athletic as well. I was in a lot of athletic running and just
Huh.
about all sports. I played all sports as well in school.
Okay.
And then I
So you
went out
had
to New York. Went out to New York and did some modeling, and I was in a lot of the running marathons.
Okay.
With, yeah.
So you
So,
had a what do you call it? You had a pretty. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought here. You had a pretty starred career. I mean, things were. I guess this would be back in the 80s and the 90s,
Yeah.
and this is before plus size models really started getting notoriety and recognition, that kind of thing. It's very interesting. How did you keep from, what do I say, getting taken advantage of? A lot of folks that gotten into the model industry have found that in order to get anywhere, you had to do certain things, which would, say, compromise morals and that kind of thing. So, how did you keep from falling into that?
Well, I grew up in a very tight knit Christian home, so my mom was always in the back of my mind, everything that
Mhm.
I did. So whether she was present or not, she was my little voice to tell me, you know, which direction to go, because there were plenty of opportunities to get in trouble,
Yeah.
but
'Cause
you have to stay focused.
yeah, I
Yeah.
saw on the internet there was these boys that get into acting and stuff, and then the parents say, "Okay, go with this guy, and he's gonna get you in there." And next thing you know, the guy's taking them to these all boy parties,
Hmm.
and I'm thinking like,
You have to
I
be
don't know.
yeah. You have to be well disciplined when you're in that world, because it's very easy to fall into traps. So
Oh, yeah.
my thing was I was very athletic, so I did a lot of running with the marathons, and
Hmm.
you have to stay in shape. You know, it was more or less you had to discipline yourself daily. You had to go to bed on time, eat right. So that took up most of the time. And then, you know, you set up your appointments and so forth. But when I did the runway modeling in New York, you had to prepare for that. So I was always at the gym,
And if
you
we
know,
were just
prepping myself.
yeah, if we were just joining us, we're talking to Grace Lynn, and the title of the show is "What Are the Secrets of Victoria Secrets?" And then comment, and Grace Lynn has insights. So we're talking about the world of modeling, and it, so when you what at what age do you decide? Okay, I've done Denver. I'm going to go out to New York, and I'm going to try my hand out at New York.
At what point I wanted to be a top model, but after meeting a lot of the top models and their life to get there wasn't really a road I wanted to go down. So at some point, you know, you say to yourself, is this the lifestyle that you want? Because there's a lot of sacrifices that you may not want to enter into, because it follows you the rest of your life. So I
Like
did.
what? I mean, come on, tell me. Let's give us some insight. I mean, what kind of It's like you're wearing all these different fancy clothes. To an outsider, it's like you're wearing all these different fancy clothes. You're flying to Europe, all over Europe, and stuff like that. And um, is it because it detaches you from the family pretty much, because you're pretty much on your own out there, and really no one that really cares about you. They just see you as a commodity. Uh, Tell us about that. What was it about it that said no? I'm going to go another direction.
It's a fast life, and you know, in order to be a part of it, you have to be at the parties. You have to, you know, be with the people that are
Hmm.
actually partying. I wasn't a party person, so
Hmm.
you know, you had to be a party person to really be in that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I didn't stay, because you know, you have a lot of things that are involved,
Hmm.
a lot of pressure, because if you were 1 pound overweight, you know, you had to figure out how to lose that pound overnight.
Wow. Because
Wow.
So, you know,
A
because
lot of water fasting. You're talking a lot of denying yourself of certain foods.
yeah,
Um, that's got to be difficult.
yes, it was. I was diagnosed anorexic for about 4 years,
Yeah.
and it took a toll on me because I was skin and bone.
so
And
no salads, because salads would have kept you there.
well, not really. Salads. I was a vegetarian for
Hmm.
22 years,
Hmm.
Okay.
and because you know I had a eating disorder, I had to make a decision of whether, you know, I had to become in the norm to get healthy.
Now, when you say in the norm, you don't mean like just all out with junk food and all that stuff. You mean like in the
No,
norm as
no.
grass fed beef
Yes,
maybe, and all
yes,
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yes. I was a vegetarian, so I didn't eat meat for over 25 years. But it was, I still, I, it's something where if you were 1 pound over, you know, you couldn't perform. So
That's wild.
the pressure was there, and
Okay.
a lot of emotional, you know, a lot of emotional pressure and so forth. And then a lot of times when you're doing print work, for instance, you have to look a certain way, so you're actually skinnier than what the picture is showing.
Right. Right.
Now, I'm
Mhm.
thinking like at a basketball team, it would be the coach with the clipboard walking through, telling each player, what they have to do.
What they have to do.
Who,
Yeah.
yeah, who was the lady with the clipboard? I mean, what was it? You have any memories of the lady with the clipboard saying, "All right, ladies, this is the score, and who's going to be on the day and who's not." Tell us about that part.
Well, it was, it's always a group of ladies getting together, and you had uh, turnarounds as far as, dressing. Most of the times, the clothing that they had you to wear, you had to fit them.
Hmm.
So you had to be a certain size to get in them. So if you came in and you couldn't fit, uh, certain designers' clothes, then you were going to go on the runway that day. So,
And how many strikes do you get before you're out, or does that even exist? Like,
well, it's not so much strikes. It's just the pressure, of like getting up. You had to do a lot of facial skin. Um, your mindset had to be more or less into a mannequin, a mannequin mode. You know how you see those mannequins just posing, and so
yeah.
so, so you're actually into that, mannequin mode. So whatever they, wanted you to wear, or depending on the runway, if it was runway or even print, a lot of times the photographer would tell you that, you're not looking right today.
Wow.
That come back tomorrow,
Sure. And
So
then would you sometimes get an attitude and say, "Who are you?" Because I would say something like
that
that.
yeah, that was the thought. But a lot of times, we were family. Everybody knew the pressure. We helped each other, so it became teamwork. So
Right.
when the pressure was on, you did whatever it took to get it done.
Now, okay, so you're with the agency. Now, a lot of, like, especially like African American music artists, they're like, they put this contract in front of you, and if you don't read or understand at the time, you miss the little nuances and stuff like that. How did that work as far as like managing what was coming in, making sure that you as the individual was paying taxes or whatever you had to pay like that? How was the financial end of that in this business?
Actually, the that was pretty easy if you had a manager. See, I was my own manager, and I was freelance, which is what
Wow.
they call freelance, is what you take care of everything yourself.
Oh man.
So yeah, you definitely had to have your tax ID.
Yeah. So like the scale rate for this kind of shoot and that kind of shoot, and you learned that along the way, like how much you charge for this
Yeah,
type of thing.
yes. Well, you did your homework, and a lot of it is through speaking with the other models. Because some models got paid differently than you, and
Wait,
it depends on your notoriety.
I
And,
gotta
and
I gotta
who
tell
you
you this.
got.
I I was a DJ at this club. I went from one club to another, and this other guy was on the radio station. He was on Q102. He was a little short Spanish guy, right? And I said, I said to him, I said, hey, how much should I ask for? And because he was a DJ at the radio station, he got insecure, and then he had me fired just because I was doing a better set. I was a pre-show.
Hmm.
So I was doing a better set, and I thought, hey, this is my friend. I could just ask him. How much
Oh
did
boy.
that? How much does that go on when somebody is higher than you? And in some cases, they say, "Well, you can't talk to that person." And how was that getting to that level, or were you in it long enough to know a lot more people that you could get around those egos?
Well, yeah. Well, you definitely had ego
Yeah.
in the business, because a lot of times, it's actually what they're looking for. But a lot of times there was competition all the time, but you just learn to you just learn to be graceful in, the rejections, and then you go home and cry.
No, I'm talking about like when you were finding out the prices of stuff. Were there some women that you
Oh,
found that they would not give you answers
yes.
because they don't want you to get to another level? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, 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 absolutely. That happened a lot. Sometimes, and then sometimes they would tell you, that's something we'll discuss later, and then later never came, and there was a lot of jobs I've done that I didn't get paid.
Hmm.
So, but because it got me out there, it
Right.
put me on the map, so to
Right.
speak.
Okay. So you're working your own finances, and then you're a
Mhm.
you're a contractor. So you take out your own taxes at the you put away 20% or 10%.
Yeah, quarterly.
Yeah.
I pay my taxes quarterly, but
Okay.
I was always, into learning the laws because you don't want them to come back and bite you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Hmm.
and so you get to yeah, because I'm kind of interested in that business part of the thing too. So so were there girls that you saw like get to certain levels and you said, man, like, and you said, yeah, I knew her, and then she got to another another level, and then you said, well, yeah, I knew her, and stuff like that, and the ones that were willing to take the sacrifice, and you knew what they were going through in the background. Did you see like those like people like break out and go forward?
Oh yes, oh yes, I have some stories. I
Okay, well,
have some
come on.
stories. Yeah, I
Share,
have
Sure.
some
share.
stories.
You don't
I
have to
I
tell us any names.
I know
Just
a
tell us
lot
a
of
story.
okay. I know a lot of top models and how they got there,
Well,
but
well,
it's a sacrifice that they made, and a lot of times they regret it. Well, most of the times they regret it, and
is it because of okay? Say because I used to go, when I was used to live in California and you go to these parties and I would pretend that I was high because I
mhm,
didn't do any drugs, and I
right.
didn't want them to think I was a fed or anything, so I was just pretend like I
Hmm. Well, one
so
thing one thing that kept me from climbing the ladder was that I was didn't drink, didn't smoke, very athletic. So
Right.
when I went to these parties, I was there 5 minutes. It was just show up and that was it. So I never got a chance to get on board with a lot of the top modeling, whether it was print, runway, because of that. So you have to be in a certain circle too, as
now
well.
let me say that okay when I managed bands the doors open at 10 but it didn't start kicking until like 11 or 12.
Right.
Was that the kind of thing?
Yes. And
Yeah.
there were some parties you have to be at. If you were a model, there were some parties you have to be at to meet certain people.
Right.
Because you have a lot of the directors or the even with the photographers, you want to meet the top photographers so they could do the best pictures for you.
Now
So
there was no internet back in those days. How did you
no.
know about that list?
Well, you had business cards, word of
Okay.
mouth, and just the group that you hung out with. You knew every name, um, and we did have the phone too. So
So you got
You had
to
you had to
doing it.
pretty much
we
create
had
your own
the old
little black
rotary
book.
dial.
Right. You had to create your
You
own
was on
little
the
black
phone.
book, this kind of thing.
Yeah, you were on the phone most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Networking.
was that the norm or was that unusual? Some people that have the agency do it for them, and or in your case, did you do it yourself? Did you have the agent like
Yeah, the agency does a lot, and sometimes even if you're independent, you could still sign up with. There's some agencies that still took freelance
Right.
models, and
Right.
so yeah, they sometimes they'll call you at 2 o'clock in the morning and tell you need to be at a shoot at 5 o'clock, so you only have
Oh,
a 2 or 3 hour window. So you always had to be ready, so at nighttime you prep, you put the cucumbers on your eyes and
hey,
the mud mask on your face, all of that. So you had to be ready at all times.
Now, tell us about New York because I went there only once, and I was there. It was like a Tuesday. I went down to Times Square. It was a Saturday night. What was New
Yes.
York, and what part of New York was it that you were in, and what was that like
I
being in New
live
York?
I lived in Brooklyn, New York. I also lived in Alphabet City, which is in Manhattan, which is a lower part Manhattan.
Hmm.
Alphabet City is, A, B, C, D, E, F, G was the name of the streets. So they call it Alphabet City. And that's where you wanted to be for modeling because everything was in New York.
Absolutely.
So it's and New York is open, they say 24/7, but New
Yeah.
York is actually open 25/8.
Wow. Yeah, because I mean, I was just surprised. I said, "This is a Tuesday night."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, "This place is."
Everything is open all the time. So yeah, you could find it. High noon could be at midnight for some people.
Okay, so you have to take a train from Brooklyn, and then
Yeah,
you go down to this area, and then it would just be like because I would guess it's like well lit and all that kind of stuff. So you just be going from place to sometimes
from
place to
places.
place, and
Yeah, and actually you could be up 3 4 days. But when I lived in Brooklyn, I had car service, so I never had to take the train.
is that
Wow.
right? How did you get that
So,
hooked
so
up?
Through modeling, modeling and music, and then I was in theater and film. So I had a lot of connections, and I'm still in contact with a lot of those people there. So, and they wish I had not moved back to Colorado.
now
What?
you're a
Because
woman of faith, and you have, you have a lot of, from what I can tell just by talking with you, you've got a
Hmm.
lot of what can be termed as self love, meaning that
Yes.
you know that as a woman, you hold the power of creation. You
Hmm.
know that as a woman, you are, oh gosh, I don't know how to put it, but basically that you're blessed of God, and
Hmm.
that God is, the Father, and through the Lord Jesus Christ, through His abundant mercy, uh, He basically gave us a new level, a new way, a new livelihood of hope and resurrection, and this kind of thing. So that the idea being that the stuff that we're doing here is transient,
Hmm.
but it affects our eternal salvation and our existence eternally. And so, you know, eventually it sounds like you did have to make a choice to make the sacrifice and go ahead and get out of the business. Uh,
and because you didn't hide your faith, the other girls see that there was something about you, and they said, "Girl, what is it about you that?" Because it seemed like your light was shining,
right.
and
Yes, absolutely.
how did that reflect on others, and were you sometimes surprised that they would come to you for advice and stuff like that?
No, I wasn't too surprised. I was waiting for them, because
Wow.
I was always grounded. So more or less, I was at a very early age. I was always that mother figure,
Wow.
easy to speak to.
That is
Wow.
awesome. So you had the idea, uh, innately, I should say, I guess that's probably the best word I can come up with, that your inheritance, from the King, from the Father God, and
Hmm.
through the Lord Jesus Christ, uh, you had this incorruptible inheritance that doesn't fade away. Whereas, as a supermodel or as well, any sort of model, um, after a certain age, you kind of have to gracefully end up bowing out because looks do go away.
Yeah.
And you probably had the decision you wanted to either because I don't know if you have if you wanted to have kids or if you wanted to get into a more solid relationship and maybe the men around you weren't that that deep or maybe they were. What made you okay? How did you start making the transition to either come back here or do something else than what you were doing or transition? How did that happen?
Well, that happened pretty early. I decided that it wasn't the world that I wanted to be in because of the things that were happening and the
Yeah.
places you had to go. So it was easy for me, but I'm always a mentor, and getting into it, I'm helping others. You know, these young women and men that are getting into modeling. I
Hmm.
have the experience, so I'm a mentor for them when they, approach a certain decision
Wow.
that they
That's
have to make.
All right.
wow.
So you say you got out pretty early. What does that mean? Is that 26? Is that 30? Is that 23? What does that mean?
Around 27.
Okay, so from
Around
12 until
27.
27. And
Yeah.
then, so you said you
and,
had your,
and then yeah, and then I went into theater and film, which is something I love. So
see, we have to bring you back and get into that. That's
That's awesome.
it's definitely going to be a part two. And when we want
right.
people, leave your remarks down there in the conversation thing. And if you do super chat, we'll answer that one a lot faster. So
Yes.
do that. And so they'll send you people that because they know you. They say, meet this person. They'll send people, have them call you,
hmm
right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I have about four, working on the fifth, but I have about four uh young people that I have gotten into the modeling, and they're
Hmm.
doing quite well now. So they keep in contact with me.
Okay.
And
Now, usually when I sign somebody, I sign like, I get like a little cut of the something because if I'm going to get you in the door, I'm going to get a little cut. I don't know if it's the same way with that. Because I definitely and sometimes they get surprised and I said, didn't you read in the contract? I
in
said,
the
I gave them the
contract,
contract,
right?
yeah, that I get like a cut of this,
And yeah, and that's funny you say that, Johnny, because I am always teaching them about the contracts and the business. So therefore, my services to them is that they be successful in what they're doing, and they continue making the right choices, because not everybody gets in there and make the right choices. So that's my reward, if anything, because the experience I have and the knowledge I know, if they want to, give me a cut of something that would be on their own accord. I wouldn't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do it that way, but then I said, oh, why not shoot? But because I'm thinking like I do a lot because I was booking some of these guys in different places, and it was places that without me they couldn't get it, and I would get higher prices for them that
hmm
they didn't get before. So I'm
hmm
thinking, yeah, it's
Well, I've
okay.
gotten paid. I've gotten paid. There's some projects I do work on that I get paid for. But then
Yeah.
it's just when you're young and
Oh
you don't
yeah.
have much money
Oh
and you
yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
help them.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
I
when they
understand.
get, maybe when they make it big, they remember you. But if not, they'll always have that knowledge that they got from you.
Yeah, I
You
got to ask
know.
you. I got to ask you. In the music business, when you get up to about 250, that seems to be the magic number. When you got fans coming to your concerts about
Mhm.
250, that seems to be the magic number. And then it could be you and this other band that have 250, and one of you is gonna take off. What's the
Mhm.
magic number of? I don't know if you can put it in numbers like that, but what is there like a certain time where you know that you're going to get further up there? Is it the number of people that you know? Is it the what is it? Because I for the music business I know that, but what is it for the modeling business when you know that you're going to move to another level?
Well, yeah, and modeling is basically, it's basically how far you want to go, because a lot of times models get into acting. You see a lot of them go into acting after a certain age group, so it depends on your love, it depends on your passion, because there's some models that are still out there, they're doing a number of things, they're singing, they're dancing. So you have to be multitask,
Ah,
and yeah, it's called the entertainment business. So modeling is part of that. So,
and of
yeah.
course you got to have your Facebook nowadays. You got to have your Facebook, your I guess TikTok and all that kind of
hmm
stuff because it
Yeah.
just spins off
It
into kind of
spins
stuff.
off. Yeah. It spins off. And so when I retire, I'm going to get back into my passion, and I might do some print. It depends on, but I love theater and film, and I'm mentoring about 4 people for modeling as we speak now.
Okay. Wait, and I got to ask you this, because my wife, she's from another country, and when she came in, she knows like a lot of women, especially African American women and black women, they wear like the wigs, and I never really thought about it. I just, my mother wore one. I just never thought about that. If you're from another country and you come to America, you don't realize that there's a lot of women that wear. How much is that wearing like different wigs in that business to change, like your look? Because I know it's makeup. I know that's there. Body contour,
makeup.
that's there. How much is it with the hair and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, the hair, everything. Most of the time, you just Beverly Johnson was one of my biggest models in the business when I was there. She was my mentor. So being in the business, and now she has her own wig line.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because as I say, people of color, our hair texture is different, so you have to have different looks. So you couldn't really go to a set and have a straight hair unless you was wearing that wig.
Yeah.
And you had different looks, so and I embrace it, because that way I don't have to comb my hair.
Yeah.
Get up and,
You gotta do some name dropping. Who have you met? Like, who have you met that's famous that while you were there during that time? Whether it be like Tina Turner during that time, or the Parquets, or Ohio. Did you meet anyone like famous, like musical artists while you were climbing up the ladder while you were there?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I still speak to a lot of them. There's one I could bring up. His name is Herman. He was with the Ink Spots.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow.
And we came up with an artist, and her name was Dakota Blue. And something happened, and she couldn't go any further, but she would have been big. But I worked with all kind of people. Sharon Nelson, which is Prince's sister. I worked with her.
Right.
I worked with a lot of people. Grace Jones.
Wow, great stuff.
Yeah. The Grace Jones.
You know what? They came out with the movie. It was called Boomerang, and I was watching it because you put the kids to bed, and so I was watching that movie, and we had the surround sound, and my wife had that. She said, "You gotta turn down that movie. You're scaring the kids." I said, "Wait a minute, this is movie time for the adults. They should be in bed." Because she was coming. Yeah, she was coming down on that chariot, and yeah, wow.
Yeah, she that was my mentor. I had a lot of mentors in the modeling agency, as well as the music, because I was into music. And see, one thing when you're in the entertainment business, you have to kind of dip and dab into a little bit of everything. And so, you're around every celebrity. I could just name about 100 of them that I know off the top of my head. And in New York, you tend to meet everyone on every level, Now, so they just become regular people. They're just regular people. They're not.
This is before your time. Ohio Players had this album called Fire with this beautiful lady with the fire hat and all that kind of stuff. Do you know who that must have been a model who did that? Because that record really got him out.
Yeah, and a lot of times they do use models for cover. For covers of. I you know what? I know her name, but I just can't. It's not on the top of my head right now. But I know who you're talking about. There's a lot of models that was on a lot of the covers, the LPs and records and stuff. So and I work with a lot of record people too. So yeah, a lot of them were models, and I did some modeling for a couple of the groups that were up and coming. And so you could be anywhere in modeling, you could be anywhere and find a job, whether it be print, runway, or just an extra, they hire a lot of models for extras.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking on that, as a model, as you say, you can pretty much get work anywhere and everywhere. Sometimes actors and actresses and this kind of thing have a little bit of a harder go with their career. And certainly with musicians and recording artists, they kind of have a harder go of it as well. Some final thoughts that you've got for women and in this day and age, men and in this day and age,
Binary.
the transgender community and this kind of thing. What are some final thoughts that you might have if they want to get into the business?
Yeah.
Well, my final thought on the business of entertainment overall is that you have to have the passion and you have to love it. You can't go in there thinking that I'm going to make all this, amount of money, because the notoriety in the entertainment business is your face. Yeah.
There's a guy called Pat Morita, and he starred in a movie called The Karate Kid. And he mentioned in the movie, as Mr. Miyagi, he says, left side of road, safe. Right side of road, safe. Middle of the road, squash like grape.
Right.
And I think if I understand what you just said correctly as one of your final thoughts is if you want to get into the business, get into it, but pour yourself into it. Have a passion for it.
Yeah, have a passion.
Or
you have a passion. And not only that, it's not just so much having the passion, because some people get in it because they say, oh, I want to be big like this person. Right. I want to be big like that person. No, be big to yourself. And wherever it may go, you want to have fun in doing it too, but you don't want to come out of it thinking that I've failed, because you never fail. There's no such word as fail in the entertainment business. It's levels. It's levels.
Right. That's absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the book of First Peter. So if you are of a mind and you want to check out a little bit of light reading, First Peter is a really good book to get into. It talks directly about what our eternal inheritance is all about, and it lifts you up and it helps you to find your true north, as it were, and really press into what truly matters in the eternal. And it's not physical beauty here. It's the eternal.
Yeah. And also, people, if you want, like you see my Intervision shirt here, if you want a shirt, we're saying like for a donation of $35 or more, we'll send you a shirt. In the United States, it's free postage and all that kind of stuff. If you're outside, it costs $40 just to send stuff out in Europe. So if you're out of the country, because we got a lot of viewers from out of the country, it's probably if you give a donation of $100, then we can make that happen. So anyway, info at InnervisionFM.com is our email address, and PayPal.me/InnervisionDenver is our PayPal account, or you can do a super chat. So anyway, hey, Graceland, man, this has been fascinating. I found out more about the background and everything like that, and I really appreciate you sharing this with my audience.
Thank you for having me, Johnny. This is a joy to me.
All right. So we'll see everybody tomorrow when we're going to talk to the blind history lady, and she's going to talk about the first blind governor here in Colorado.
That's right.
So,
yes, and my granddaughter, she takes sign language. She's only 6.
Wow.
And I encourage all kids to learn sign language, because it's important, for them to not have to talk so much. They
yeah, I heard that, right?
Keep the house quiet.
All right. God bless you. God bless you. And